Hello there, Internet. I hope you're receiving the pixels of me that are being beamed out over something. At this point, it's a coin flip. But hi, and all you linear heads too. Huh? That's still a medium. Anybody? Doesn't matter. I'm Kevin Pereira, and this is Attack of the Show, The Loop. I'm Kevin Pereira. I am largely irrelevant, as you all know. The reason for the season is my guest. And in case you're wondering who they are, I will let you know that they are the reason there was an astronaut cat DJing 3 hours of a launch special last night. Take a look.
For nearly 2 decades, Adam Savage has pushed the limits of curiosity and creativity across pop culture. You may know Adam as the host of Mythbusters, the editor-in-chief of Tested.com, the author of Every Tool is a Hammer, or as IRL No Face. Whether he's crafting spacesuits or suits of armor, Adam brings his endless drive for knowledge and exploration to each and every project. So let's get to know the man behind the myth-busting today in The Loop.
That's right, my guest today. Oh, let me bring him on the best way I know how. Sir, oh God! They warned us we had to be title safe, but they didn't say anything about Adam Savage safe. He's lover and a biter. Adam Savage is here, and the internet is going wild, I'm sure.
Good to see you, man.
It's great to see you. Thank you. I appreciate that. We haven't, this is how early days it is. Yeah. We don't know if we're allowed to interact in the studio.
Oh,
We don't know if applause is warranted. Certainly not for anything I'm ever going to say, but even for a grandiose interview introduction.
But like, even a single golf clap in the distance is never not funny.
That is the only sign that I know that a performance is being had.
I think Seth Meyers made it all okay for everybody.
The internet is exploding in real time over your shoulder, but that is chat. We will get to you in due time. Right now, it is my chance to chat with you, good sir, and I'm delighted. Thank you for being here on this inaugural event, the launch of a network, the birth of a something. It's content.
I'm honored.
Yeah, thank you. I got to meet you not too long ago when I went to visit your Mad Hatter workshop, and you did me you did me dirty, as they say, Adam. It was not a kindness, because you opened the door.
Oh, that's right.
And I walked in, and we immediately started chatting about projects or whatever else. And then I turned and I realized, I just bumped my elbow into, I think that was a coin meter from the Matrix movie. Yeah. And then I look this way, and I don't know, is it Alf staring at me? And then I turn this way, and it's the multipass from the... It was a little overwhelming.
It's on purpose. I need a certain amount of what I call visual cacophony in order to work. Like, I find that relaxing to not be able to sort of parse totally my environment.
You can't have signal without the noise.
I need the noise, and I love bringing people in and drowning them in the noise, and like using that. It sort of makes people vulnerable.
Yeah, I busted a take, which is not something I've done. Well, arguably, I do it all the time. Right. But I haven't had to actually say, "Hey, can we hold for a second?" Since I was probably 18 years old, because I was overwhelmed.
Yeah. And to me, that also is part of the way in which you bring out the excitement of the place, right? Yeah. Because it's a palace to celebrate the weird proclivities of things we can't stop paying attention to.
Well, I visited you because you were gracious enough to lend your time and talents to the G4 relaunch with an exciting build. And it was, in fact, 2 spacesuits. And I apologize because one of them, after your meticulous labor of love, all the thought and care that went into what saffron orange will this suit be, and how will the stitching go, and where will we embroider, and what about the comm system? We stuffed somebody into a cat suit and had him DJ. And I hope that's okay.
I knew who I was making the suit for. I had no illusions about what was going to happen afterwards. I figured beer stains would be part.
You got to know the customer.
Yeah.
Can it be pressure washed?
Sure.
Is it tear resistant? Those are what we need to know.
Not at all. Not even remotely.
Tell me about the project from your point of view, please, because it culminated in a beautiful video, which we'll get to as well, The Beacon, which your team is incredible from start to finish. They've been amazing. But
we're so ecstatic. We've been aware of each other and mutual fans for a long time.
Yes. And that's kind of you to round up your opinion of me. to that of anything I've done. Thank you. I'll take it.
I mean, and we've intersected in a few places way back in the day. And you guys, your folks reached out to us early in the summer and said, we'd love to do something to celebrate the launch. Is there something you really want to build? Which is just the greatest freaking question to get in the world. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, spacesuits. And I think somebody on my team blanched for a second because they were like, oh, of course we know you want to build spacesuits, but what do you want to build for G4? And I'm like, spacesuits! And then we were off to the races. You guys, you love the idea. I've been obsessed with the new Artemis-style spacesuits that NASA is currently experimenting with. And it's also because there's a larger amount of discussion going on culturally about spacesuits and the new suits we will wear. But what people still don't understand is the spacesuit is not a solved problem.
Right.
It is still really hard to wear one, even with all the advancement of the past 60 years. And I own about a dozen replicas of spacesuits, but none of them were like this. The XEMU Artemis-style suit is a very particular form factor, and I just was so excited to play. And you guys fomented a month and a half of just pure joy for me.
Well, I'm delighted the ask was, hey, what would you like to build? Not, here are our corporate initiatives. How can we back into them and reflect our core values in something that you get to put your name on? So when you sit down to design a spacesuit from scratch, obviously you have your favorite iterations of the suit. You're a cinemaphile, if I may, as well. So I know you've studied the way those suits look in various pieces of cinema. But like, what's the process for you? Is it an iPad and is it a box of crayons and some construction paper?
It's a sketchbook. It's a sketchbook. That's the first thing. I actually did, I think, 30 plus pages of sketches of this suit.
Really?
And it's different parts. It's kind of how the build itself is so large and encompasses so many different parts and pieces and units that I can't wrap my head around it at all. So I just spent weeks just drawing every part I could think about and then troubleshooting how it might fit to the other parts. And it's all just part of the ideation process of delivering it. But there was this really neat thing, which is almost all the suits all the suits I have in my collection are replicas of suits. They're faithful replicas of a certain type of suit. The suits I built for you guys, I designed them from scratch. I mean, I followed a form factor of the XEMU suit, which is its identifying feature is that you enter through the backpack. But besides that, everything was my call and the spacing and the distribution and everything. So there was this whole process where I got to a certain point of the build and I couldn't proceed until I had a point of view on where the suit was going to go. And so to do that, I had to actually build a narrative for the suits in my head. And the moment that happened, I went from having fun to having just like the most unbelievable blast.
So what is the lore or the backstory behind the suits that we got to premiere yesterday?
So what I was thinking was when we go to the moon, we go back to the moon in 24 or 25.
Go back to, that's cute. I'm sorry, I just can't. That's fine, sure, sure. Allegedly, we get back there. We're going to build a space station. We're going to have to set up some sort of shop.
But for the first time in NASA's history, we're going to another planetary body not to explore it, well, partially to explore, but also to establish a foothold. And that means we're talking about a fundamentally different way of using suits. And I thought suit form factors are going to change because of that. And I thought, oh, right. So if I'm on the moon and it's like 2030, there's some suits around that are already really old. Okay, so that's definitely going to be what I want to make. Now, if I'm a supervisor on the moon, I pictured, I got a group of folks working for me and they wear suits to work for me. If I'm a supervisor, I'm going to want to look out the window and be able to find them. And so that led me to think, oh, we've never needed a beacon on a spacesuit before, but once you're working on the moon, you will. Because they're going to be like pieces of construction equipment.
Right. You had to look at the world through Space Bezos' eyes and see human beings as machines and go, how can I quickly identify the one that's taking too long to pee in the space jar? Well, get back to work, 37.
I did a little research and I found out that out on the factory floor, they make these lighting systems so that a supervisor can look and see which machines on the factory floor are working and not working. And I found the blue is construction equipment. So I made a little blue strobe and I attached it to the backpack. And it's the first detail piece I added after finishing the form factor. And before I put the cloth coating on, and I put the strobe on and I turned it on and it made me laugh. And I instantly saw this whole narrative. And to tell a long story as briefly as possible, the worst part about going to the moon will be moon dust, which is called regolith. And
Actually, yes, because you talked to me
Yeah.
a little bit about this, and this is new for the kids on the internet. But we're gonna actually take a break, and when we come back, we will talk about the terrifying reality that is moon dust.
Yeah.
Because when you say it, it sounds like a cool EDC party drug.
like,
but no. You don't want this sprinkled in, on, or around you. More with Adam Savage and the terrifying reality of moon dust when we come back to The Loop. Stay right there. Seriously, stay right there. Don't go. Please don't go.
Wait a minute.
I hear my voice. I see a camera moving. I'm going to make the assumption that we are back. Hey there, look at that. What's up, internet, TV, and cell phone screens, and 4D holographic? I don't know. This will be...
I got one of those on order.
We're probably in the metaverse right now.
Yeah,
or we will be at some point. I don't know. I signed a waiver. The point is, I'm Kevin Pereira. Again, largely irrelevant. This is Attack of the Show presents The Loop. My guest today is Adam Savage, and we are going to pick up where we last left, which was about the horrific existence that is moon dust.
Moon dust, which its official name is regolith, is nasty, nasty stuff. So sand, it's akin to sand. It covers the moon. It's fine. It's powdery. And it's interesting, before the first Apollo crew landed on the moon, to read NASA's speculation. They didn't know if the ship would just get buried 10 feet in this soft dust. They didn't know what they were going to encounter. Well, what they did encounter was...
Wait, they didn't rocket an anvil up there or something and let it fall to figure that out, or...
Suffice to say, there were still questions unanswerable until someone actually stood on it. So when Neil Armstrong sits down and says, my foot landed on top of it, he's giving direct data that everyone wants to know back home at NASA.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and he's describing how far the regolith comes over the feet of the eagle. He's literally giving information that they're like, what's it like? What's it like?
So how did they fake that in the studio? Was that cornstarch and charcoal? We can talk about that later. So, I didn't realize. I thought he was kind of, for me, because again, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Watching something
I didn't
like
mean
that.
to agree with you
I
there.
mean, no, that's you'd be foolish not to, believe me. But I would think that it's almost a nervous excitement, that narration.
Sure.
Of, okay, oh, my foot's going. I don't know. This is, but he's a trained professional.
Yeah.
He's delivering data in real time that is
Absolutely.
providing tons of context and information. Of course.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So he's describing that regolith.
Yeah, and so look, on Earth we have sand everywhere, and it describes many different processes and materials, but ultimately it is small bits that have been worn down by geologic and weather processes. So sand on Earth is, if you look at it under a microscope, even fine-grained sugar sand is going to look like round little balls and rocks.
Yeah.
On the moon, there's no process like that. So what you have is these tiny little bits of dust that, if you looked at them in a microscope, are like barbed and sharp and have edges, and there's nothing to unsmoothen them. And so if that stuff gets on your clothing, as you bend your clothing, it's literally tearing the fibers of your clothing from the inside. This is why Neil Armstrong's suit required millions of dollars and years to resuscitate it to get as much moon dust out. Because every time you moved it even a little bit, you're
just
slowly
scratching
destroying
and
it.
scraping. Oh, wow.
And so it can get in. It's also frequently it's glass-like, and also has some. There's iron ore in there, so there's like it's bad for seals. It's bad for bearings. It's bad for everything you need to do on the moon safely.
So what was the solution to getting that off when they were coming back?
Well, they didn't. They actually
Did they just let it ride? They were
Yeah,
like, "Oh."
they had moon dust in the cabin with them. They were breathing. It's not great for your lungs.
that's
Of
what I
course,
was-
it's very
yeah.
small amounts. But one of the solutions, solutions that I love is the single entry spacesuit, the XEMU. And the Russians, the Russians have been using a rear backpack entry suit for decades. And it's a very smart design. It's one point of failure.
Right.
Your build is monolithic. But the feature that I love the most is you can bolt it to the outside of your habitat, and then you no longer need an airlock. You don't need to put on a suit and step into a big room that is wasted just to waste oxygen.
Right.
You can get into the suit from the hab, have someone close the door behind you and close the secondary door, and then you can just start walking. You're now free. And when it's time to go back in, you back up to the door, someone opens it up, unclips you, climb back out into the suit, into the hab, and there's no airlock has happened, and you've tracked a minimum possible amount of dust into the habitat. I think that's awesome.
I think it's fed. And I'm also now realizing how true to form getting into the suits that you built.
Yeah.
How that process was. Because you needed an ounce of help. You needed a custom built ladder
Yep.
with a bar
Yep.
on it.
Yep.
You needed an ounce of upper body strength.
It is
Humble brag.
And the real suits have the real XCMU suits have a bunch of waist support that I just didn't have time to engineer for us. I'm sorry.
That's okay. You know what? All is forgiven because the end product, which I hope we can show a little bit of again, the end product, it was more than worth it. And I say this, I think I said this on one of the tested bits. I don't know if it made it in, but I know I said it on G4 is going to be airing a special about the process as well. That look, I had a deep respect for cosplay and crafting, and truly, I at least I thought I did. And then seeing the meticulous attention to detail, all of the decisions you made, the ring lighting in the helmet, because might not be the most functional thing, but or the most form thing, but how else you're going to see who's in there without it? So now I'm paying attention to that when I watch any number of space.
It's a classic internet debate to get into of like how unrealistic the lighting inside helmets in movies are.
But how
however,
cool is
the
it?
only people who had no issue, well, some of the people I sent pictures to were astronauts, and they were like, "Love the lighting."
Exactly.
They get it.
And I was going to say, so again, I started off with, I think, a respect for the process, but I didn't know what I was getting into. And until I literally got into the suit on the day with the lights powered up, with the beacon flashing, and I felt like we were actually in sync. Because I could see your beacon flashing, and it was almost like there was a song and dance, a modem handshake happening between the two suits. And you, in that moment, were the only person, maybe outside of some people on your crew, for testing purposes, you were the only person that understood what I was experiencing as well.
Right.
And suddenly I was breathing this rarefied, thankfully filtered air. Thank you for that as well. You built that in. But I was breathing this air, and I was feeling it, and I was looking at the gripped texture on the gloves, and I was feeling the way the arms move, and all of the thought and the care that you put in really dawned on me was that conversion on contact moment. So I feel incredibly grateful to have that, and grateful that you made that for us. So thank you.
While I made them as light as possible, the suits are 35 some odd pounds each.
Yeah.
And wearing that on your shoulders for extended periods of time.
I'm 73 pounds and mostly porcelain. I'm put in cornfields to scare the crows. I'm a paperclip with teeth. It was heavy.
Yeah.
But the end product was amazing.
Yeah.
And our cat astronaut, our catstronaut.
Catstronaut. Yeah. I think
What was it? DJ Catastrophic? DJ Catastrophic.
it's brilliant.
You birthed the newest member of G4 lore moving forward. So
I
thank
feel like
you.
we jumped a step. The thing to me was after you guys greenlit and building the suits, I knew that the thing I wanted to do with them was film something with them. Like build something cool, want to film something cool with it.
Yeah.
And that's why we made this little film, The Beacon. And that was really just the tested crew. Like every time I was doing tests of the suit, when Joey and Norm were there, I was like, let's get the cameras. Let's do some camera tests. See what lighting needs. See what the lighting needs are. I adjusted all 3 lights on the suit with dimmers so that we could balance them for camera. And these were only things I learned when I did it with my cameraman. And, we figured out these kinks. And then we got so enamored of what it was like to shoot with the suit, we had to make a short narrative. And we came down here to LA to Fonco and filmed that in one day.
Yeah. Yeah, one very swampy day. The best, I don't know if the behind the scenes photo has been tweeted or if it exists on social, but you and I looking like moon workers, half passed out, like marionettes that just had their strings cut, just completely flopped
Totally.
on the ground in these amazing
totally
suits.
prone.
Yeah. I mean, that's memories for a lifetime, sir. So thank you. And
my
I hear G4 is looking to do a joint venture with Peacock to give The Beacon 5 seasons and a feature.
Excellent.
So who will you get to play me?
Oh, that's your call.
Someone that's got juice.
I want Wes Chatham from the Expanse to play me.
Okay.
That's what I don't know if he could do it, but he's a great character actor. He could do it.
We'll get him.
Yeah,
we'll
good.
get him. Does he work for sandwiches that he has to eat while working?
Might.
Because we don't respect breaks around here. Sorry. So listen, The Beacon was an incredible experience, and I'm delighted. But I'm curious, can we take a step back? And I know you've talked about it before, but how does an Adam Savage get forged? How does one of those get made?
Yeah.
What parenting or lack thereof? I don't want to be presumptuous.
Yeah, no, I had both.
Yeah.
It was the 70s.
Just enough leash?
Yeah, certainly. I think the most important part of my upbringing is that my parents really took pains to put in front of me those things that I expressed interest in. So I think between my sophomore and junior year in high school, my mom signed me up for like every class at the local community center. And I just spent the whole summer like doing carving in soapstone and clay work with porcelain and like all these different processes. And now I realize what she was doing. But back then I was like, oh, this will be a cool summer.
Right. You didn't get the father's foisted dreams upon you. It was, oh, you're expressing interests. Let's see if we can cultivate.
And that's actually another thing. My parents had no preconceived notion whatsoever about how they wanted me to turn out. Any of us. And that is significant.
When I'm going to just toss to commercial so I can take a second and marinate in what that reality might be like. And when we come back, we'll dive a little deeper into that, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll be back with more with Adam Savage. This is Attack of the Show presents The Loop. See you in a second. Art form, Adam, and I'm not an artist. Hello, welcome back. You probably didn't get the top half of that sentence, but that's the way this show works just now. This is Attack of the Show presents The Loop. I'm Kevin Pereira. My guest today is Adam Savage, and we are learning about the childhood which made the maker. So now, ILM, that phase. How did you trip and fall into ILM?
I saw Star Wars when I was 10. It came out when I was 10. And I had wanted to work there forever. I tried working in several different special effects houses in New York in the 80s, and that never took, mostly because they were not easy or nice places to work. And I had the privilege of parents who paid my rent when I didn't want to work at this terrible job, which blows my mind, frankly.
Yeah.
Right? Like from a parenting standpoint.
And it wasn't a small family.
No, there was a bunch of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people.
There's a handful of mouths. Yeah.
But let's see. I think my earliest love was theater. The drama club in grade school and high school, and then
because you had done some commercial stuff, right?
I'd done some acting. Yeah,
also in a music video.
Yeah, I was in Billy Joel's music video. You're Only Human. Yeah, his worst video, and that is a low bar. That is a low bar. I met Billy again a few years ago, and he was like, "Oh, what a terrible video."
Oh, good. Okay, at least now it's weapons free. He gave you permission.
No, he was like, "We had to do it. It was the '80s. That was what you had to do." But I came out to San Francisco in 1990 and started working in theaters, and I got a reputation for solving weird problems, mechanical, aesthetic problems, and that led to me working in commercial special effects. And I spent 5 years working on over 200 commercials. And commercial special effects is very different than normal special effects. You usually have like a day or two max and maybe a few $100s for this thing you're building. The budgets are cheap, the schedules are tight.
And what type of, are we talking about like explosions in the background of an insurance commercial,
no,
or
more
making
like-
the Pepsi pour slow? Or...
Oh, the Pepsi pour slow. Actually, I had the honor of having the most popular Coke pour for about a year.
Go on.
Well,
Go on.
my friend Lucy Blackwell and I art directed a Coke commercial called Coke Contraption, which is still one of the most beautiful commercials I've ever seen, let alone got to work on. We built a bunch of different Rube Goldberg contractions to deliver a Coke. And in the end, I made this joke to the client where as the Coke bottle, I had the Coke bottle sitting in a hinged basket that I soldered out of brass, and I wanted it to fall and pour, but I wanted it to pour slowly, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. I thought maybe I should have a hand do it. And then as a joke, I took a rubber kitchen glove and put a valve on it, had it inflate like the pilot from Airplane, and the Coke bottle falls into it, and as it wilts and like it pours the Coke, and I'm like, they'll
autopilot.
never go for this. And they not only went for it, but literally a year later, I got hired to pour a Coke because I was told, quote, Coke did the research and you have the most popular pour in the last year. So I did that until the late 90s, and at that point they were ramping into heavy production on episode 1. They had over 200 model makers working just in the model shop. Wow. Probably 1,000 people working on the production. And I had a bunch of friends up there, and I was like, it's time for me to go up there. And I just sort of hammered away at the door. I was confident in my skills at that point. I didn't think I'd show up and make a fool out of myself. So I called the Mark Anderson, who ran the shop at the time, every week for about 4 months. And what I didn't know was that he had mistaken me for someone else. And so he was humoring me, but he'd shit-canned my resume. And then my friend Christine went to him and she was like, this is not the guy you think it is.
Yeah.
You should hire him. And he brought me in the next week, and I spent 5 years there.
So then just out of, curiosity, asking for a friend, someone who definitely isn't me, let's say you think you're skilled and you know a thing or three, and then you show up to launch like a television network, and you think you know it because you were kind of there the first time, and you realize you know nothing. You have no idea what's going on. Do you just kind of fake it till you make it?
Yeah. Well, you fake it till you make it, and then you look for that one thing you know. Like, we were talking about this off camera.
Yes.
I had a young kid ask me at a con recently, what advice do you have for a young professional just starting out? And the thing that occurred to me to tell them was, you think at like 19 that adulthood is like, well, soon I will have a skill, and then I will have knowledge, and I will be able to apply that knowledge to solve
I've collected
problems.
all of the wisdom pearls.
Yes.
I have a mortgage. I guess I won. I'm an adult.
And the reality is, you will step into almost every project you have, and it'll just look like a mystifying ordeal of some orgiastic fever dream of nightmarish things conflicting. And you're going to be like, I don't know what to do with this. And then at a certain point, if you examine it enough, you'll know something. And it might even be, well, it can't be green.
Right.
But that's enough.
I know that for a fact.
It's true.
I have a
So
ground truth. The
this-
reality here
yeah.
can't be green.
No, this is my advice is the second you know something, you are this is the moment when I put the strobe on the suit.
Right.
The moment I put the strobe on the suit, a whole new point of view cascaded, like one of those letter signs from Grand Central that you used to have, like into being. And I saw much more of the narrative. And that's the trick, is it's not about knowing how the thing is done. It's knowing when your point of view shows up.
And adds value
Yeah.
to the situation. And something else, I'm seeing this recurring theme as well. Like when you approach the spacesuit, you had to do a bunch of drafts because you just had to get the overall vision. There were a million problems to solve, but you can't solve the million at once. So you have to break it down. And also, you talked in your book, I think it was in your book, you talked about like the power of a deadline.
Yeah.
About how
so powerful.
it shouldn't be a crushing nightmare. It's not the ticker tape at the end of the parade littered with moon dust. It's actually freeing because it focuses you.
I love deadlines so much. And one of my earliest lessons in commercial special effects was Jamie Jamie's shop had been hired to do 14 gags for Toys R Us, and they were super cheap, so we had to do like 14 commercials in 2 days flat. 14 30-second commercials, each one with some gag, like a pen gets puppeted and dropped into a thing. And Jamie had built this complex rig for one of these commercials, and it failed on the day of. And there was no resuscitating it. And I was brand new employee. I was like, wow, what is going to happen? And Jamie, like, emotionlessly went to the producer, and he's like, this won't work. And the producer's like, what are you going to do? And Jamie's like, well, we have 3 options. I can redress this so it does this, and the effect you want can be done in this other way, or I can do this, or I can do this third option, which will take 2 hours, but it'll give you 5 hours of shooting time. And he gave them options that encompassed all of their possible parameters and needs, and they were like, great, we'll go with option B. And I was like, oh my God, this is a whole new way of operating in the world. See the crisis, but don't take it personally.
Right.
And then just address what can be done. And this is, look, we've both seen plenty of people step into the film industry and be like, nope.
Yeah.
And you either love it or you've got to get the hell out.
Because option 4 is I'm going to go back to my car, collapse in a flop sweat, and pretend that none of this is happening.
Oh, there was an urban legend in San Francisco film community in the early 90s about a PA who had accidentally gone home with the 100-foot reel of the effects footage. And when the producer called them, they were like, no, and they buried it in the backyard. And then the producer spent like a week tracing it back to that kid's house. And they went and they were like, where's the footage? And he like dug it out of the backyard.
Yeah.
I totally can identify with that kid.
Yeah. Option 4.
Oh,
we've
yeah,
all been option 4 at some point in time. Vanessa, super producer Vanessa Guerrero is here. Vanessa?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hey there. Hi. Vanessa, how are we on time, first and foremost?
Got about 20 minutes.
But before the next commercial break, I asked this because I hate to do this to you because I consider you a fast friend, but we do have a hardball question.
Okay.
Oh, a hardball, Adam.
Okay.
Big wink and nod.
Got about 3.5, 4 minutes.
Can we do it,
Yeah, do
Vanessa?
it.
Can we do it?
Yeah, we can do
Listen,
it. We can do it.
around these parts, Adam, we're known for asking the tough questions.
All right.
We're known for throwing the high heat, the real stuff. We scrape the web for the things that we wring the saddest towel out until every morsel lands in the bucket. And I say we're known for it. This is our first thing. I don't know what we're known for. We're trying to define what we're known for now. So if you can just bear with me here.
I got you.
So I got the high heat, Adam, and I'm throwing it at you right now.
Bring it
It's
on.
coming your way. Is there a graphic, Vanessa?
There was a graphic, but I was really
a
bad
graphic.
at building it.
That's all you need to know. There was a graphic.
No, I know she was working on a graphic in Keynote, and it was beautiful.
There was 2 hot dogs, a baseball. They exploded.
So we'll figure it out later, and we won't fix it in post because there is no post. But there were 2 hot dogs that did come slamming down on the screen.
Oh, this one. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk
this
about
one,
it.
Adam.
Let's get into it.
We've got about 3 minutes to
Okay.
get into it because it was asked of you, I believe on Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
Hot dog. Is it a sandwich?
Totally.
Yes or no?
Yes.
And you
Yes.
dared to log in, not in an alt account, but on your main.
On my main.
And confidently answer with no intercaps, all lowercase, which is just so smug, Adam. You said yes. How is a hot dog sandwich?
I
How is a hot dog sandwich?
We're talking about the structure of a thing.
Are we?
Well,
The thing that lacks a hinge?
the hinge is immaterial here.
The hinge being without a hot dog, it's you just have you
The
have
hinge is immaterial. The bun has been made in 2 parts. The hinge is simply a convenience, not structurally important.
no.
So I think
You're
of
not
it-
gonna win me over
I
on
think
this
of
one,
it
and
top-
chat is
I think
against
of
you.
it topologically. And topologically, a coffee cup and a donut are the same shape because they are a shape with a hole through it.
Okay.
And so thinking through like that, I break a sandwich down to the structure of bread surrounding a meat.
Sure.
In 2 slices.
But the difference between a binder and bookends is, in fact, the fact that they're
Are
connected.
you going to drop the taco on me?
Sure.
No.
Let's do it.
But the taco.
A hot dog is a taco sandwich.
No, it's not, because the
It's a taco
taco is
dog.
a taco is a single monolithic piece.
But if you snap the taco shell in half, you got
yeah, so if
Spanish
I snap
sandwich.
this table in half, I have a wooden sandwich.
You
But
sure do. But if it folded on its own,
If it folds on
you'd
its
have a hot
own,
dog
no,
table.
No.
This science makes sense in my head.
Well, that's the problem.
What do you mean you don't hear? There's loose bolts and beans rattling around
I can
there.
hear that.
And you said cling to the one thing you know. And I know hot dog, not a sandwich.
Yeah, it's structurally a sandwich.
There's a whole website, which now I'm failing to load up in real time now, but it talks about like the cubic approach to where the container that holds
I see,
whatever
sure.
that is defining the thing. I'm failing miserably.
I just
to bring
think
it
that
up
if
right now. It's
aliens
okay.
landed and they looked
Yeah.
at what we were eating in
Sure.
terms of sandwichy, taco-y spaces,
Sure.
they would make a clear distinction between a taco and a sandwich where they wouldn't with a hot dog.
Open face grilled cheese.
That's not a
Technic-
sandwich. It's an open-faced grilled cheese.
But no,
Oh, you
it's
call it a
sushi.
grilled cheese sandwich.
It's actually sushi.
Sure.
Okay, so we can agree on that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I love a good open-faced grilled cheese.
Chat, I now we're going to just go to the wisdom of the crowd,
Okay,
right? And in
yeah.
this case, the crowd that showed up for this live stream, Adam. Hot dog, sandwich, or taco. I think that's fair. I mean, a hot dog's a hot dog, but if I had to classify it, for me, hot dog, taco, not sandwich. And I'll throw it out to the studio as well.
Hot dogs and tacos could not be more different.
It's the same thing. It's just one is
If you're
one
look,
is
if the bun,
carnitas.
if
What-
the
you
bun of your
shred
hot dog
the
is a
linguiça-
pancake, then they're the same. But it's not, because the bun has been, that hinge on the bun is simply a manufacturing convenience.
You break the bun, you break that hinge, you got a linguiça sandwich.
Oh, really? Is that what you tell people who are eating a hot dog where the bun's been separated?
I scream that in their face at the Costco when they spent $1.50. I break the bread and I go like, I just changed your order.
Who's
I
going
hope
to
you like
Costco for the
sandwich."
hot dogs? I go to IKEA for the hot dogs.
What? No, IKEA's meatballs. Adam, we were becoming friends again, and now we're mortal enemies. IKEA is meatballs and Allen wrenches. If you just got a snack on them,
Yeah,
you pop them
fair
in your
enough.
mouth, keep them in the pocket like a hamster. You go to Costco for the $1.50 hot dog and soda.
No, I go to IKEA for the Swedish fish, really.
Oh yeah, okay, that's okay. We're friends again. And chat just scrolled right now, and I can tell you, out of that nonsense that is flying by so fast, we don't have the refresh rate to support
Crazy.
it. They agree with me. Hot dog, taco, not sandwich. Sorry, Adam. And this is, this is home field advantage because I get to distill that.
I can take it. I don't mind being right.
They definitely agreed with you. It's all right. It's fine. More from Adam Savage when we come back. The hot dog is taco.
What's the recipe for surprising the kids, treating yourself, and ditching dish duty? You're looking at it. Order your Pizza Hut faves like Original Pan, Original Stuffed Crust, and more at pizzahut.com. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
At SteelSeries, we make the headsets, mice, and keyboards that the world's best gamers win the most with. And we've been doing it since way back. It's up to you how far you go, but whatever you do, go for glory.
Every time I eat stuffed crust from Pizza Hut, I play this song. But watch what happens when I play it backwards.
Eat stuffed crust backwards, just $12.99.
The original stuffed crust, only from Pizza Hut. No one out pizzas the Hut.
Come on, guys, let's get the W.
I'm winning.
If you really want to win this, we should do the
Pre-draft ritual! Let's do that!
I am going! Oh, crap. We dropped 5 minutes ago and we were killed immediately. That's my bad. Yeah, GG's though.
You want to dive into that now?
Yeah. want.
We can go Q&A or we could go rapid fire. Explain like I'm five.
I love the explain like I'm 5.
Let's do it.
I was surprised you sent me a list, and I was like, wow, I actually know an answer. I have an answer for every one of these.
Yeah, I mean, we were like, we'll just send too many options, thinking that
Well, let's see if we can
if
get through
10% make through. But okay, we're gonna do that. Vanessa, you good with that? Okay, great. I'm glad. Okay, hi, welcome back. This is Attack of the Show presents The Loop. This is a formatted show. They'll air pretty much anything on TV these days, we've learned. And the internet, I mean, all bets are off from the invention of it all. Hi, friends. Chat agreed with me as Adam acquiesced during the commercial break. Yes, hot dog, not sandwich. But we're moving on because now it's time to explain like I am 5. Is that what we're calling it, Vanessa? Great.
That's what we're calling it.
Explain like
Kevin
Kevin
is 5.
I came up with this segment. It's not that I subscribe to the subreddit, and it's one of my favorite things. Nope, this is all me, Adam. I want you to know that. That's why I didn't even know if we had a graphic for it. Okay, so we'll pretend that there's a timer on the screen.
Okay.
We'll pretend that there's tense music.
Okay.
We're going to rapid fire through this.
Great.
I've got that 5-year-old attention span, okay? You got to break these complex some things down to me, Adam Savage, starting with, why is the sky blue?
The sky is blue. Well, it's improper to say why is the sky blue because sky and blue are effectively the same thing.
I'm a 5-year-old and I'm crying now.
Sorry,
you
I
just
apologize.
told me it's improper?
No, I'm sorry. The sky is blue because the molecules that make up the sky reflect blue light.
Oh, so the sky isn't actually blue.
No, it is blue because blue light comes from things that reflect blue light.
What about parabolic sound?
Parabolic sound is effectively a mirror that reflects all the signals coming at it in a specific direction and allows you to magnify things far away.
Is that why the car go vroom, but it sounds vroomy different later?
Yeah.
Is that a different thing?
No, that's the Doppler
That's
effect.
the Doppler. So why does Doppler sound so vroom?
That's because the sound waves, when they're coming towards you, have a certain pitch, and they're also coming at you faster because the source is coming at you faster. And then when they pass you, they're moving, and the speed at which they're getting to you is slower.
So that's why car goes vroom.
Exactly. The tone drops because the speed that the sound is getting to you
I
is
know why
slower.
car go vroom. What about wormholes?
Wormholes.
Adam, what the F?
Space and time are the same thing, and
Okay.
they fold like cloth, and a wormhole is simply a cigarette burn between two folds of that cloth.
Okay, I like that, actually. I'm going to accept that. I'm going to accept that. Why water sometimes go over edge of glass but no spill?
Well, you know when you pour water, I like you're doing this.
Which is how it was written, Vanessa.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just choked on coffee. I wrote everything like you're 5. I
Adam,
wanted you to be in
you're
character.
just
Yeah, no,
letting-
thank you. Yeah.
You're literally doing voice transcription for this,
Why
right?
water sometimes go over edge of glass but no spill?
You know when you pour water on the tile and
Yeah.
it beads up? Okay, it's beading up because of what's called surface tension. And that's the same reason it can rise slightly above the glass, because water molecules like each other and they want to stay together, and they can stay together with about as much energy as the water sticks up above the glass.
So they're literally clinging to
Yeah.
each other, trying not to go over the edge
They are
of
attracted
something.
to each other, yeah.
Wow. Okay. There's an analogy here with G4 talent, but I'm not going to explore that right now. I'm going to go to in outer space. Can no one really hear you scream?
Nope, no one can hear you scream because there is no carrier for sound. Sound needs air, or actually, it needs some medium to travel through. So sound can travel through this table, it can travel through a swimming pool or air, but in the vacuum of space, there are no molecules and thus nothing to transmit the sound.
Could we fill like a box with something funny and it would make the sound different if we shouted into it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Every different substance transmits sounds at different speeds. So the old thing in Westerns where the guy puts his ear to the ground and says, there's 4 horses coming, that's actually doable.
Okay.
Not only that, sound travels faster through rock than through air. So you can hear trains coming from much farther away by putting your ear to the track.
My 5-year-old brain has imploded. Why moon look big to my eye but tiny in the phone? Vanessa did me dirty if she thought this is how I talked when I was 5, but thank you.
That is an artifact of when you look at something with your eyes, you are like looking at it and taking it in, and it's creating a picture in your head because you're able to take time to look at it. It's a bright source.
Sure.
So there's a lot of information coming. When you look at the photo, it's just you can't see that detail because it's much lower resolution and it's not as bright, and it's basically a psychological effect.
Now, as a 5-year-old, I went to many a rave.
Yeah, sure.
I loved Dead Mouse 5 when I was 5, and I want to know, how do glow sticks work?
It's a chemical reaction. And 2 chemicals that when you join them together, glow stick has a glass ampule in it,
you got it.
full of a second chemical. When you break it, you mix those chemicals, and part of their chemical reaction is every chemical reaction is about the movement of energy. and the energy generated by that chemical reaction is light.
Now, what about now? Sometimes I've been told you can put them in the freezer, and then when it's in the morning, and you've switched over to more edibles or something else to just kind of edge off the roll. You could take the glow sticks out of the freezer and re-crack them.
Really?
That's what I was told.
That sounds like that. I don't believe that.
Well, and I wouldn't trust anybody's roll experience. I wouldn't trust anybody who said that there was more light there.
Who put these glow sticks in the freezer? The internet.
No, it's cool, man. Just stop knocking over the Solo cups. Why is my microwave burrito molten outside but still kind of frozen on the inside?
Because it takes a while to move heat through a cohesive body. The microwaves work by taking the electromagnetic spectrum at a specific frequency and vibrating the molecules of your sandwich or your hot dog. And they vibrate it, and vibrating makes them heat up. Well, it doesn't make them heat up, it makes heat. Vibration is heat.
Right.
So the microwaves create heat, and that heat takes a while to work its way all the way into the center of your lasagna.
I'm blowing my mind here. Why should Kevin close the toilet seat when Kevin flush?
Because if you could witness microscopic droplets of water.
Has anybody visualized that? The effect?
We tried on the show. We found artifacts from a flush toilet as far as 15 feet away.
No.
Yeah. In a completely cleaned bathroom. So water vaporizes and stuff travels. And look, it's all in our gut biome anyway. We're inhaling fecal coliform and all sorts of nasty stuff all the time. It's what makes us robust.
5-year-old me does not want to hear that.
5-year-old you ate poop, I am sure of it.
100%. 25 and 35-year-old me also has some questionable dietary habits. Why does menthol feel cold?
Oh, this one's really neat. It turns out that the chemical in menthol, when we get cold, our cells have a chemical reaction to getting cold. Our human cells have a chemical reaction. Menthol activates that same enzyme that's activated when we're cold. So it's like the menthol is faking you into thinking.
I was going to say, so it's not the actual compound itself.
No. It's the compound itself is activating some part of your system that tells you when stuff is cold.
Can we? Okay, hold on the Explain Like I'm 5. Like, did you ever do any hacking or phreaking, which is basically like phone-based,
No, I did. No, I did do hacking in the original
statute of limitations.
No, in the original
well
MIT
passed.
sense of the word of exploring places I shouldn't go and leaving them as I found them. I did a ton of that in my teen years.
With computer systems?
No.
Or
All
with
physically. So I found out that a butter knife could pick the locks on the doors that led to the windows in Grand Central Station's big windows, east and west. And I spent much of the 80s wandering through those windows. And one day they left another door unlocked, and I discovered that it's true. There is a swimming pool above the 42nd Street waiting room.
I choked a little bit on this one because it says, how do crowbars work? And why do they make me so strong?
It's the simple lever effect. Archimedes has one of my favorite physics quotes, which is, give me a lever and a place to stand and I can move the world. And it is really true. The amount of energy you can impart with a crowbar is gargantuan, especially when you're out at the end of a lever arm.
Kids, you're learning a lot. We're teaching 5-year-olds some questionable things.
Exactly.
Jam butter knives into everything. Just, Grand Central locks or light sockets. And grab a crowbar.
Look, if you're going to make friends with the light socket, just make sure one hand's in your pocket. That's all.
And as a seasoned TV professional, how do I toss the break right now?
I think you just did.
Oh, great. We'll be back then. Hello there, dearest internet and television friends. Hi there, Kevin Pereira back for Attack of the Show presents The Loop, our inaugural episode. And what better champagne bottle to crack against the bow than Sir Adam Savage? Thank you.
Thanks for making me a knight.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I teased at the top of the show that we are, in fact, live and interactive. And that's the way media works these days, I'm told. So we are going to ask some of the cues from the audience.
Okay.
That's fair?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I might have skipped a graphics cue. And the good thing is that that's okay? Let's roll it.
Sure.
Great. Literally forgot the name of the segment as we were going to it. And it's like, you know what? We're all friends here, right?
Yeah.
Has questions. We have answers. Let's answer them.
And that's the segment, and that's what we're in right now. Thank you, Vanessa. So, my unexpected treasure asks Adam, if you were a supervillain, how would you use regolith in the most evil way?
Oh, I would
Little
figure out a way to
jockstrap
make
sprinkling?
white regolith so you couldn't see it, and then I'd sprinkle it in the clothing factories of my enemies. Their clothes would just start falling apart on them. They wouldn't know.
Is there like
That's literally the nude bomb. I just described the Get Smart movie plot line.
That works though. It's yours now because
Yeah.
it's regolith, and that's the
Amazing.
unexpected twist. K-Boy asks, any plans to go to space soon?
Oh, God, yes. I would love to go to space. I'd love to be a civilian ambassador to space. If you've got a seat on one of your
You want me to text Jeff? You want me to text Jeffy? Because I'll do it right now.
It's very exciting time that space is becoming more accessible.
The fact that we can, you can look down the barrel of a lens and say, hey, I'd really like to go to space on one of your ships. And that could apply
to a whole host of different entities.
Several private entities
absolutely.
is really exciting.
Look, I'll make my own suit.
That's right. You will. And you could probably fix the toilet on ENunn's.
I would. I would love to go. I've been on the Vomit Comet.
Yeah, we
I've
were just
taken
talking about that. Yeah.
U-2 spy plane to 70,000 feet and above, and that vantage point on the universe, it's something I would really like to experience at some point in my life.
I found on the zero-G flight, the parabolic flight, I found the moon and Martian gravity to be the best part of the experience. The zero gravity part of it all, nauseating. I felt completely helpless. Yeah. I was doing the Galapagos turtle thing that they said I would, and I'm like, no, I'm too smart for that. Then suddenly I'm a scared cat that just saw a cucumber and can't get away. I like the moon gravity. Yeah. I like doing push-ups with pinkies.
I loved the fact that as I tried to move quickly in moon gravity, I looked precisely like an Apollo astronaut.
Yeah.
Like the
same
weird
bouncy
two-legged
gait.
skip. I also thought it was hilarious. I finished doing all of the, I guess it took us like 9 or 10 parabolas to get all of our sequences. Yeah. And then my producer's like, we're good, we're wrapped. And of course, that's when I throw up. And I throw up into the doggy bag or whatever they call it. Yeah. Not a doggy bag. And I throw up and I'm like, oh, and I look down and I realize, oh, there's nothing holding it in the bag because there's no gravity. Maybe I should shut it.
Yeah, it went down and it came back up to greet me, and now it's coming back up again to greet me.
Right,
The bag
only
is
momentum
vomiting.
is getting it into this bag, not gravity. And momentum is going to bring it back out if I don't act quickly. So
What a fun discovery. Kiro and Gib asks, which do you think will come first, moon base or Mars base?
Oh, moon base, 100%.
Right, it has to.
There's fuel on the moon.
Right.
We're going to get to Mars. The hardest part of getting to Mars is getting enough fuel out of Earth's gravity well. And the moon has a ton of water on it, and that is our rocket fuel right there. All we need to do is use electricity to turn it into some hydrogen and oxygen, and we're off to the races.
Love it. We have 2 more if you have time.
Okay.
TF98 asks, what's the build that holds the most sentimental value to you?
The most sentimental value?
Yeah. Do you ever get misty-eyed reminiscing on a particular build?
Yeah, I do. When I was 5 years old in 1972, I snuck out to my dad's studio, and I took my teddy bear and I traced him on a piece of paper, and then I drew him and I gave him all the things I wanted, which was a nice snazzy blue vest, a belt, and with a gold buckle, and a Superman shirt. And my parents saved it and framed it and dated it, which tells you a lot about my parents. Yeah. And I still have it.
Every bone in my host body says you end on that. It does, because that's delightful. That is very sweet. But I am going to end with King Hova Studios, who asks, can I get that recipe for thermite you wouldn't share on Mythbusters? Asking for a friend.
No. Get your own anarchist cookbook.
Did I miss
I'm not going to do your homework for you.
Okay, so we have a promo pony. I don't know if you've heard about this thing. It is a majestic creature. Okay. No saddle. Refuses it. But once you hop upon it, you have to ride it into the sunset. Okay. Are you ready to ride the promo pony?
Sure.
You know, as I started to set it up, I was regretting it. I could have just said, hey, we've reached that time in the show where we should plug a few things or whatnot.
I'm yes, and I'm just,
I know, but that's a dangerous place, and it's too much power into my amateur mitts. You're very kind and very gracious. But let's go ahead and let that horsey dance across the screen, friends. It's time to ride the promo pony.
Get yourself to tested.com and see some of our videos and our short film for G4.
Wait, hold on. No, I should have disclaimed.
Oh, I'm not allowed. I thought I was supposed to talk the whole time.
I know, but the pony is so fast, in case you didn't realize that.
Yeah, no, I was very
the
grateful how fast he was.
Oh, okay. And he was majestic with his gait, and you were also embodying that MIDI music, that barnyard theme that was there, like, hey, friends, come on out, which I appreciate. But that we can be a little more casual.
Conversational.
Yeah, let's
Lovely.
be. I should have. So we're going to take it back for the edit, and let's let that promo pony run across the screen right now. And there, how fun is that?
He is majestic.
And that's all the time you have. That's all the time you have. And now it's, oh, no.
That's the
No, look, I know, I knew once you became involved with the G4 of it all, and from the suit build to agreeing to do this, which I appreciate. Like, I mean, obviously I knew you'd have a home here, obviously. Not that you need a second, third, or fourth home, but the reaction from chat was insane. And as predicted, they're going to want to see more. They're going to want more. Yes, they could Google. Of course, there's the Let Me Google That For You link, but how can people find more?
They can find more at Tested, our YouTube channel, which is tested.com, and Tested on YouTube. There is literally hundreds of hours of me building stuff in my cave in San Francisco, collaborating with amazing people like the geniuses at Weta Workshop, and traveling to film sets like Blade Runner 2049 and most recently Ghostbusters Afterlife, where I was actually able to even build some props for the show. Yeah, tested.com. We've been having a lot of fun over there.
And your private social? What's the...
No, you're only going to get the main.
Okay. No burner phone? You want even a Google Voice or something?
I wish. Oh my God. Okay, so I just funded this Kickstarter for a cell phone that has a physical mechanical dial on it.
So it's a cellular device with a rotary dial.
A rotary dialing cell phone. Yeah.
So they're going analog to digital somehow, and this is something you have
to have in my collection. Yeah, absolutely.
Adam, thank you again. You've been gracious with your time. The build was incredible. I truly, it was an honor and a privilege to be part of that journey with you.
Thank you. You guys were amazing partners in that Suits, man. That was such a fun build.
Thank you. 5 seasons and a feature. We're gonna get it. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Dude, that was awesome.